The official reporting of King Von's passing has now been released from people close with him. From the original report that came out compared to the report I'm sharing in this video, there is a lot of hidden details about what happened on the night King Von passed. Now we need to talk about this, so let's get straight into it. So the day starts in Atlanta on November 6th in 2020. Atlanta is home of the best recording studios, the best way to record with other rappers, to get features done. It's just the rap mecca of the entire world. If you want to be a rapper, you go to Atlanta. But King Von was out in Atlanta on November 6th, celebrating the release of his newest album, Welcome to O Block. Now at this album release party, it was full of friends, family members, and business partners. They were all at a club called Opium, and it was just casual stuff, King Von celebrating his album release date. Now King Von and his boys originally rented out an Airbnb for the night. They were planning on hitting a late night studio session and they needed a place to crash, which is why they rented the Airbnb. While at the album release party, it has been said by many people there that King Von was simply just not himself on that night. He was acting very strange, and this could have been due to the fact that he got word mid-party that Quando Rondo was at a different club nearby. Now all of this has been confirmed by somebody who was with King Von on the night that he sadly passed, and this would be his manager 100K Management. He spoke about this in an interview that he did with DJ Akademiks. Now, at the end of the celebration party, King Von heads into his SUV with a driver and 100K Management. Now usually King Von rolls with 3 security as well as the boys from O Block everywhere he goes, but tonight that was a different story. Now after the celebration party, they all started heading towards the Airbnb to get ready to go to the studio. Halfway to the Airbnb, King Von tells his driver to turn the car around and go to this lounge called Monaco. Now at this lounge, Quando Rondo, he just so happened to be there. Quando Rondo was taking a nap in his orange McLaren while waiting for his friends to arrive to the lounge. Now as of to this date, it's still unconfirmed whether this was a coincidence them meeting up here, but I don't believe it was, as what King Von did when Quando Rondo left his vehicle. But when arriving to the lounge, King Von, he sat in his SUV for around 20 to 30 minutes. He did not speak to anyone. King Von was super silent and he was just on his phone for 20 to 30 minutes. Now after arriving to the lounge and sitting in the parking lot, that's when the rest of King Von's security and the boys from O Block got word where Von was. As soon as they got word that King Von was sitting in his vehicle not talking to anyone and acting super strange, they immediately rushed over. It's kind of crazy when you look at the surveillance footage. All you see are these massive SUVs pulling up to the parking lot as they were there for King Von. Now out of nowhere, one of King Von's boys ends up scouting Quando Rondo. He then tells King Von, hey, did you know Rondo is here right now? And this is when King Von then was seen hopping out of his SUV and walking directly in the middle of the street. Now in the middle of the street was a white SUV. Quando Rondo was standing outside of it while talking to his best friend Lil Tim, who was sitting inside of it with the window down. Now King Von and his crew then started swarming Quando Rondo in the middle of the street. A brawl then starts to break out. King Von and Quando Rondo are just going at it in the middle of the street. No firearms were being used or anything. Now this is when out of nowhere, Lil Tim hops out of that white SUV that we were speaking about. He pulls out a firearm and starts using it to defend Quando Rondo in the brawl with King Von. Now with the sound of a firearm being used by Lil Tim, in the area there was undercover cops parked down the street. They started creeping up to the location. They then started lighting up the entire area. It was actually described to to be like a war zone going on in the middle of the street. Firearms were being used from all over the place. Mind you, it was nighttime as well, with not a lot of street lights. Everybody was ducking for cover, running out of the area, and just looking for somewhere safe to hide. Now, mind you, during all of that going down, King Von and Quando Rondo were still out in the middle of the street. This is when King Von's friend Muop runs into the middle of the street with everything going on. He knocks Quando Rondo right out of the way, grabs King Von, and carries him to a getaway vehicle. Now, sadly, in the getaway vehicle, this is where things went very south. Sadly, they did not get to the hospital fast enough, which sadly, King Von ended up passing in the process. It has been said by people that were in the vehicle with King Von when this happened that King Von was actually the most calm in the vehicle. Von was speaking perfectly to everyone on the inside, telling everyone to calm down and that everything was gonna be okay. That's just the type of guy that King Von was. He never wanted anyone that he was close with to be thinking negatively about any situation, and he was always that kind of guy to calm most situations down, even when it was the most severe of incidents. Now, I've spoke about King Von's passing before, but didn't know the full details, like what happened in the vehicle when they were trying to get to the hospital. Those details alone kind of tell you about the person that King Von truly is. It has been said by King Von's manager that was with him on that night in the interview he did with DJ Akademiks that King Von, he was true about who he was as a person. If he has an issue with someone, he deals with it. He doesn't just sit around and let things blow over. He lived the type of lifestyle that he truly wanted to live. It was just a very unfortunate event that happened, and I believe things would have been very different if Lil Durk was allowed to be near King Von. A lot of people are wondering why Lil Durk was not with Von on the night he sadly passed. King Von and Lil Durk are actually both involved in a very serious court case where a firearm was used towards someone or something in that nature. The judge in that court case actually pretty much told Lil Durk and King Von that they're gonna have a restraining order against each other until the trial of that case is completed. Meaning they were not allowed to be with each other or anywhere near each other due to the court case they're both involved in together. I believe things would have been very different if they didn't have that little restraining order against each other until the trial ends, but I am going to be ending the video here. If you enjoyed, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Anyways, it's been District Trending and I'm out. Peace.